Well, hello there to my amazing Leos. This is Queen Moon Rock coming to you with your general reading. Happy new moon, happy new moon, happy solar eclipse. Solar eclipses are about resetting, when the sun, moon, and the earth are all in alignment. So make sure you know what your sun sign is. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know you're Leo. But make sure you know what your moon sign is. Also, make sure you know that your body is the earth. Your body is the earth. All right, let's try some of my awakening oil. I love this. You can buy it on my Etsy store. My link is on my website, queenamunra.com. And so, yeah, get your awakening oil. You need your third eye open. You need to see what's happening before it happens, right? All right, let's do it. Everything else that's in my store is from my website. You can go to my website, queenamunra.com, get your gemstones, crystals, all those other wonderful things. But we're going to dive into your reading. Again, happy new moon. Happy new moon. Happy new you. Hopefully you all are getting some rest. Hopefully you all are intentionally processing the last cycle that we were in when we had a full moon, full blood moon, right? Where it's on the same day as the lunar eclipse. So that eclipse season, you know, when there's eclipse season, major changes are happening. So lunar eclipses are about totally letting go. A total lunar eclipse is about totally letting go of things that really just don't align with your highest timeline. Ancestral family traumas that either people are not, either they don't remember, anything that could distract you that's traumatic for you in your family, in your bloodline, right? Where you need to just go ahead and make some adjustments, some arrangements. Maybe you don't want your kids to see, you know, or be around people who use a lot of profanity, right, in your family. Maybe everything is beep, 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 beep. Every time you're around them, it's like, oh my God, every other word they drop an F-bomb, or they dropping this and dropping that. And so that could have been traumatic for you. And so you're saying, that's why I'm breaking generational cycles, chains, and curses. I don't want my kids around that, right? Whatever it was that could have been traumatic for you, maybe you don't want your kids around it. Maybe you're having those uncomfortable, difficult conversations and just letting people know, hey, and somebody may say, well, you survived such and such. You're like, but I don't want my kids to be in survival mode. Okay, I don't want them to be in survival mode, right? So a chain has to be broken. We're going to dive into your reading. That could be an example of something. And so you're hitting a reset button. You're hitting a reset button. This is going to be a general reading. So you're going to take what resonates with you. I'm going to put an extended over on the Patreon side for those of you all who follow me over here and over there, because I could be more open over on the certain words get flagged on YouTube that are not flagged on Patreon. So I'll start putting extended versions on the other side. So again, don't forget to get your oils, right? It's awakening, helping you to awaken, right? All right, so we're starting out with your card, Leos. This is the Strength card, right? The Spirit is reminding you that your inner courage and divine radiance, reminding you of that, right? And so you're being asked to walk with grace, balancing power and compassion. That's right, balancing power. See this little lamb right here? This little lamb right here. And see this heart, somebody has their heart outside their chest, right? So you think, okay, these are your kids. Your kids could be in a situation where they're away from you. Everybody has an inner child. And so you may have taught your kids how to survive in situations, but you're also teaching them how to recognize spirits that won't put them in situations, or to recognize that they are in certain situations, and look at it from a higher view, a higher perspective. And I'm looking at this King of Wands here, looking at things from a higher perspective. I'll give somebody an example of what I'm talking about here. When my son was in, I want to say he was in probably preschool, and this is many years ago, and I actually had a job that is now considered as telework, as a the title doesn't really matter, but I had several sites that I was responsible for, and I could come into the office a couple of days a week, stay home. So the school never knew when I was going to pop up, right? So I happened to walk in and catch this teacher snatching this little girl by her arm. I mean, she was like snatched her so hard. I don't remember if I heard her arm pop out of socket. All I just went into is mommy mode. Right? Like, okay, that doesn't have to be my child for me to recognize this teacher does not need to be in this school. Period. They need to be gone immediately. Right? So as I then my mind went to my son, like, okay, I'm gonna immediately ask him if this teacher ever put her hands on him, or if any of the teachers ever put their hands on him, because of course I was going to take action, right? So I brought it to the director of the preschool's attention, and they kind of was a little too lax about it, kind of almost like this teacher is a danger to these kids, you know. And if I'm walking in here, that doesn't have to be my child, but this is somebody else's child, right? So you know how sometimes people will say, oh, we're working on it, we're doing an internal investigation, and we're taking, I said, you know what, that's taking too long. You know what I did was wrote a letter and put it on the windshield, explaining what I saw, like as a parent that I witnessed, and made sure I let people know that wasn't my child. I don't know whose child it is, but I described the little girl. I put out a letter and I put it on the windshield of all of the parents, everybody who had like their I put it under people's windshield wipers, everybody who parked in the parking lot. So as I started seeing, I was sitting back kind of watching the parents, you know, reading the letter. Everybody was like face like, what? They asking questions. Yes, because this teacher needs to be gone. You just snatched this little child's arm almost out of his socket, right? And I witnessed that, right? And so eventually I found out who the mother was. This young girl, she probably like maybe 17 or 18 years old, and the grandparents would come pick up the kids, and I'm gonna get back into your reading, but pick up the girl. And so talk to the grandparents. So the young lady who was the mom, the child's mom, she was very, very young, so she was having help from her grandparents. And just from the fact that she was kind of sort of detached, from some things, she maybe was just overwhelmed or whatever was going on. But that's what it takes. It takes a village of people to kind of sort of help, situations. Eventually, the director had no choice. First, they tried to kind of, sweeten the parents up, coming out with donuts and all of that other stuff. And nah, that's not gonna work. The donuts, coffee, all of this stuff, that's not gonna work. This teacher needs to be gone. Obviously, she doesn't either like her job. She's stressed out. She's taking it out on this little girl. Who knows who other kids she took it out on. So then they eventually wanted to have a meeting with me and the director. The first thing the director says to me, puffed up in the chest, is that she was from New York. That was the first thing she said. Well, I'm from New York and I'm such and such and such. I sat back calmly like, really? Oh, okay. Right. I want her gone. Like immediately. If you're not gonna do something about it, I'm taking it to I'm gonna escalate this, like I'm taking it to the police department. That lady was gone that day. They removed her that day. Point is that everybody has an inner child, right? There's a strength card, right? So when people will know when they feel safe in your presence, whether it's your child or not. If a person is new to an environment and they know that they're in a wilderness situation, and you either have prayer warriors around, or you either have people that's praying on a situation, right? And so this is what I'm seeing here in your cards so far. So make sure, this is coming out, you're hitting a reset button, because there's always somebody looking out for you, your inner child, when you can't see it if you're new to an environment, or your kids if they're new to an environment. You just don't know who knows whom. You don't know who knows whom in courthouses, who knows whom, who used to live certain places. You don't know who knows whom, who's connected to whom, and saying, hey, look out for that one right there. Snatch that one out of an environment. Take this one out of an environment, so that they're not put in a situation where they could potentially end up going to jail or worse, right? Especially if they're in survival mode, right? So The challenge is the Seven of Swords. This is a challenge here, right? People trying to take, this is a challenge lies in self-deception or hidden truths, right? And so the eclipse will reveal, what has been concealed within yourself or in others. Some people will look at a situation as like, well, I'm gonna mind my business, such and such, that hasn't happened to my child, so, where are their parents? It's the first thing people say, where's the mom? Where's the dad? Where's the parents? Whatever. If you see that somebody is in a wilderness situation, that animal instinct needs to come out, period. If somebody is in a wilderness situation, it just needs to come out in just whoever, right? The root of something and the foundation lies in the Magician card. So at your root is manifestation power, right? And so Virgo's earthy energy, because the moon, we had a new moon in Virgo, earthy energy helps ground your vision, reminding you that your words and intentions are spells shaping reality. Spells shaping reality, right? So somebody is getting a message loud and clear that not only are people looking out for you, whether you realize it or not, Leos, but people are also looking out for your kids, if you have kids, whether you know that or not as well, because you never know who sits on what boards, who's connected to whom, who's saying, with this one over here, who's just quietly sitting somewhere overhearing conversations that other people that you are not privy to or aware of. Maybe you got to go to work, maybe you got just life is life, and you just never know, what's going on. There are some people in this year 9, 2025, who haven't answered the call on their lives. They either feel like, okay, well, this is the best that they can do, this is all they can do, and so, but they hate where they are, and they're frustrated and taking out on everybody around them. And so Source saying you have to have the eyes around, not playing God, but as prayer warriors, saying, okay, somebody needs to be, if somebody doesn't like their position and they're abusing their power and their position, Sources said it's time for them to be, for you to be obedient to Source. And by the way, before I did what I did, I prayed about it. So I prayed about it. I'm looking at this Tower card right here. I prayed about it. Yeah, I prayed about it. So because some people will see whoever, like for instance in the story, the director nervous, okay, well, I don't know if I could just fire this person right away. This is the parents' word again. Okay, what would be the motive? I don't know this child, I don't know the people's parents, don't know the grandparents, or know the mother, don't know any of these people. All I saw that as a child was assaulted. That's what it looks like to me. You don't snatch somebody's arm that hard. Little girl was crying. When something hurts, when a person is crying so hard, there's a pause, like literally they're trying to and then you hear this loud scream, like you just know, oh no, so you have people around you that are saying, not on my watch, right? You have people around you that's saying, not on my watch, right? That's watching out to make sure that, because you all are on somebody's radar, you all on some people's radar, believe it or not. And they're looking at you and they see a light in you, Leos. They see that whoever you are, you need rest. You need rest. And a person may not come to you and say, oh, you need to get some rest, Leo. They may just know, okay, Leos are out here trying to save the world. Da, 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 da. I was trying to take off the cape, Leos, and let somebody else help you, on your journey. And so there are people out here who know people, who know other people, who know other people, and who know other people that are earth angels out here helping. So you just never know. The Hangman, for you all, it would be past influences, right? So you have been in a period of suspension, waiting, and surrender. So this has shifted your perspective, preparing you for what is to come. Yeah, so there were some energies who, I'm telling y'all, Leos, there are people who look at Leos and automatically think that you all are being arrogant because you feel like, okay, I was born a Leo, I'm proud to be a Leo, I'm successful, I'm in Okay, I had to add some time to this. I'm in high vibrational spirits and all these other things. And if they can't hang you out to dry personally because they know they would catch it, right? They'll come after your kids. They'll come after anybody who they feel like is a, who could be triggered, who could be targeted. Maybe somebody who has a temper, somebody who is, it's like from one extreme to the other, somebody who's extremely docile or somebody who has a temper, like a hot-headed energy. And so when you have people in places who are like, okay, tap this one on the shoulder and remove them from a situation because someone is really trying to set a Leo up, right? Like trying to set you up, Leo, and it could be through your kids or grandkids or whatever. Tap this one on the shoulder and let them know, okay, they're being protected. They're being removed from a situation to be protected for whatever reason. So sources say you do have prayer warriors, people who are praying for you, and people who know other people who know other people who know other people. Here's the past influences. And I pulled out the death card so that you could have a rebirth and recognize that there are people who are actually watching out. And here's a conscious influence, right? So awareness is shining, and so you know that joy, clarity, and truth are your birthrights. You are consciously calling in light to dissolve shadows, right? So I pulled out this death card here, which is going to come out again later on in your reading, because sometimes, like I said, human's rejection, not sometimes it is God's protection from something, right? So you don't have to physically be there to know that people are watching out for, people may drop your name and go, hold on, I know Leo such and such and such and such. Watch out for, if you have kids, watch out, keep an eye on that one, because something is happening, something is going on, right? So that you never have to hear it directly from where it's coming from, just so that you know, okay, they're being protected from something, right? In that case of the whole school situation there, where the woman was removed from the school, so I'm sure she went on to find something, but it really saved this person from possible jail time, because you don't do that to somebody's kid, right? That's first and foremost. Like I said, the grandparents, elderly, they probably, they live their lives. They're not going to be coming up there tussling and rolling around in the parking lot. The mom, she was very young. And, sometimes you have to have people that has eyes on stuff and see things and say, hey, listen, somebody needs to pay attention. The rest of the staff in the school got the message loud and clear, because I was not hiding who the parent was. I wanted people to know, yes, it was me. They want to put the notes on the card. These parents need to know what's going on. Y'all need to, pull his staff up and let them know these are people's kids. If the little girl's mom was the type of a person who had a really bad temper and found that out, and she did not strike me as that type of an energy. Thank God she was not that energy at all. Who knows what would have happened to that person? Who knows what would have happened to that person? That staffer, that person that's on the staff. But the director all the way down to the employees at that point started paying a little bit more attention to how they treated those kids. So, because like I said, I had the type of job I could just pop up at any time. And I'm quite sure there were other parents who could as well, right? So I do see, you see yourself, here's the King of Wands, and this is your self-perception, is that you see yourself as a visionary, a leader, ready to claim your authority and direct your fire towards purposeful creation. None of us are other people's gods. We can't be somewhere all the time to know what's going on and see who's whatever. But what Source is trying to help you to say is that, Source has your back. Is that Source has your back in situations, right? Source has your back in situations. When you want to have other people's back, is that get yourself on the throne in prayer mode and asking Source, how should I handle a situation, right? So the external or the environmental influences would be external shifts may shape your foundation, but these shocks are divine interventions removing false structures so that you can rise in truth. right? And so your hopes and fears would be the Two of Wands here. I mean, excuse me, the Two of Wands. This would be your hopes and fears, right? Because people are being blindsided by stuff. But your hopes and fears is that your fear is stepping into the unknown, yet your spirit longs for expansion. The eclipse is showing you a broader horizon, using you to choose boldly. And so the outcome for you is the Star, a beautiful outcome of renewal, hope, and divine alignment. The eclipse clears the path and you step forward guided by cosmic light, right? So that's what I'm seeing here in your cards. We're going to go ahead and close this out. And like I said, I'm going to take an extension over on the extended video over on the Patreon side for those of you all. For those of you all who are interested in oil, you know, you can, like I said, order it on Etsy. I do pray over the oil, and I do use a particular frequency to vibrate sound into the oil as well. So I do take a lot of time and put a lot of love and attention into what I create. Your gemstones and crystals have been set out in the sunlight to remove any stale energy from them after that's another form of cleansing. But you listen to your intuition. Your ex wants to return. Whatever ex is this, it's time to release the burden, right? Yep, so much better lies ahead. Yep, step through the portal and you are loved and protected, and things are now starting to flow to you like water. Some people, like I said before, looking at the car, they want to be a star so bad, like you Leos, that they will literally put your kids in a situation just to be a star, the star of the show. And somebody else recognizing that will say, because they know what's really going on. Here we have seeing clearly, the gift of clairvoyance to protect them and you. Leave them behind, right? Don't give yourselves a headache over something. And somebody is a changeling, right? A changeling is a child of fairies or demons who have been substituted for a human baby. The set, like I said, an intention. Let's close it out and we'll take it over on the